Welcome to 20th Century Geek. Yippee-ki-yay, mother flippers! Welcome back to 20th Century Geek. I'm your regular host, Scott Weatherly. Now, last episode, we took on the first three films in the Die Hard franchise. Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Die Hard with a Vengeance. I consider them probably the strongest of the franchise's films. And now we're going to start talking about, in this episode, the last two remaining films. Die Hard 4.0, or Live Free Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard. So Mike's still with us, and we're going to share some opinions on the rest of the Die Hard franchise. So sit back, relax, get your wife beater on, get your shoes off, and join us for the rest of the chat. So 12 years later, so it took him a long time to get back to making this. Bruce Willis has gone off and made many films.
Some great films he's made.
He's made some great films, some good action films, some good. In the meantime, he's made things like Sixth Sense. I quite like that film. It's a good film. He's appeared in lots of other things, so he's doing fine. I don't know, but 2007 they come back with Die Hard 4, directed by Len Wiseman, who, let's be honest, not a strong director.
No.
He has directed a couple of the Underworld films with Kate Beckinsale.
Isn't he married to Kate Beckinsale?
I think he might be, yeah.
Possibly.
And he also made the remake of Total Recall, which is an absolute clusterfuck.
See, I'm not. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
It's a fucking mess.
It's not as good as the first one, but you have to. I think if you detach
yourself... I'm even detaching it. The film makes no sense. We will cover this off at a future point. Right?
Okay, yeah.
I think that film is an absolute clusterfuck. Yeah. It looks pretty in some points, right?
Yeah.
And I actually really like Colin Farrell in it. Colin Farrell in it. I think he's really good. Kate Beckinsale appears in it again, and there's some great set pieces in it.
Yeah.
But the whole premise is bollocks.
Okay.
We'll pick it up another time.
Pick it up another one. Yeah.
But,
okay.
But anyway, so he's not a great director. And again, so we've got Die Hard 4. Still not an original Die Hard script.
Okay.
This was a spec script that had been doing the rounds again, called WorldWar3.com, or WW3.com, I think it was actually called.
Okay, so about mass internet.
Yeah. So the whole
internet war games, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So the basic script remained the same.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters remained the same. And again, this was touted for quite a few of the characters.
Yeah.
Again, I think this was at one point was touted as a possible Rambo film. It was touted as something else. So it was doing the rounds. It was one of those scripts that everyone was picking up and going, "Oh, we could do something with this." And eventually, again, 20th Century Fox said, "You know what? We own it. Let's make it. It's a Die Hard film." Okay. I think for a while Bruce held it out, and then probably checked his bank balance and was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." Again, at one point, the character that's his sidekick in this. So they introduced the sidekick again.
Yeah.
They tried to have that Die Hard 3 chemistry.
Yeah.
It's a bigger film. It's based across America.
But the age gap was too far.
I agree.
I mean, I love the guy who played the
I'm gonna check his name actually.
Because he's really good, and
he's a good actor, and I do agree that he's. But you're right. The chemistry's not quite. Justin Long. Justin Long, who plays the sidekick, and because what you have Bruce playing John McClane.
Yeah.
You got Justin Long, who's playing, let's say, the younger sidekick. He's the tech savvy one, and then you get Timothy Oliphant, who plays the villain. You know, and he's trying to play it a little bit Jeremy Irons, like he's meant to be this, intelligent. Not quite, but do you know what I mean? He's trying to be.
He's not though, is he? Well, you are right. He is doing what you say he's doing, but he's not. He's not
achieving it.
He's not achieving it at all. No, he's trying to be too cool and suave, and you just think, I just want you to get your face blown off.
Yeah,
because he is. He's a kind of like a spoiled little rich kid.
He's a smug git. Throughout it, and it winds me up. And so I agree. I think the problem with this film is there's two things with this film. It came out around that sort of... It's the start of that period where the old war horses are being rolled out to show that, we can still do it. So you're going to get the Expendables, and you're going to get your Takens, and you're going to get things like that with older actors taking on action roles. And that's what this feels like again. You're going to roll out Bruce Willis, and you're going to give him a young sidekick who's going to be a tech-savvy person.
But do you think they did that to make Bruce Willis... Because again, this exactly hit on two things there. One is to make Bruce Willis' character look older.
Yeah.
Secondly is also as well as to make him more distant from all this tech that's going on.
Oh, that was totally the point.
And I think that works in that perspective. It's just one of them things.
Again, though, I think it makes them relatable because they're trying to relate to those. Someone said, "Look, there is a dog barking in the background. If it's being picked up, I'm sorry." But there's they're trying to tap into that older generation that probably are a little bit distant from the technology and looking at these kids with the iPads and phones and all this other shit that's going on and going like, hackers, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And then I say, but he's an interesting sidekick, but the age gap is too much. And Timothy Olyphant isn't an intimidating.
No, not really. No, it doesn't even have an intimidating voice.
No, he comes across like a bit of a pussy.
Yeah. It's like he's no threat to John McClane.
No.
It's like.
And so. I actually enjoyed Die Hard 4.
Yeah, no, I did. I thought it was a good enough film. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Die Hard 2. I got to be honest.
I agree. No, I actually agree. It's probably
and there was a sequence at the end with the truck and the Harrier.
Now this is the other thing I've got to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so how we've always up until this point, up until 3, even in 3, right? We've talked about the fact that when John McClane gets blown up or he gets shot at or he gets punched in a fight, he limps out of it. He'll come out of it and he's got he's bleeding or he's got a massive bruise or he takes a good hit, right? He takes a legit beating. Like he comes out of them all a little bit broken. In this one, he tries a fucking truck, right, off this thing, climbs out the truck, jumps off the truck as the road bridge thing is collapsing onto the wing of a Harrier jet, and then gets thrown off that down this concrete thing, right, and all this other stuff, and just walks away. That's after jumping out of a moving car and jetting it off to kill a helicopter.
Which is one of the best things I've seen in a long time in a film. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is that I don't disagree. I think the action in this,
that entire sequence with the cars,
it's amazing.
Just brilliant.
It looks awesome, right? And it's reached that thing of John McClane is no longer a relatable everyday Joe hero.
No,
he's now become an action
indestructible hero.
Yeah. Which is no bad thing because there's plenty of them around. But it does. It's that turning point. This is the turning point.
Yeah.
He's become the action hero rather than the real hero. And I do find that a little bit silly. But at this point, he's trying to compete with your Jason Bournes.
Yeah.
2 years before this, you had Casino Royale. So he's competing with much younger action stars. So I think they had to up the ante.
Yeah.
So you can tell they're trying to be relevant, and the whole hacking thing and that sort of thing. So I find that the payoff at the very, very end is weak, really weak, a little bit limp-wristed. But I think
visually it's quite good.
Visually the whole film's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's really quite good.
For me it's a 6.5.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with that. 6.5.
Yeah.
Strong higher 6.5.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at something that's probably if they'd have gone closer to Die Hard 3, I don't think it would have been as successful. It wasn't hugely successful in the first place, but
they did age him, but unfortunately when he's aged he should hurt more than
exactly. He's gone the other way. He's become an expendable.
Yeah, he has.
Right?
Yeah,
he's basically becoming an expendable. But I agree, a 6.5. Okay, so we then get they wait another 6 years, and we finally get the last, or currently, I should say, as of the recording of this podcast, the last Die Hard film. So Die Hard 5, or A Good Day to Die Hard, which was 2013, which was directed by John Moore. And John Moore directed films like The Omen remake, Behind Enemy Lines, which was Owen Wilson,
and Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah,
because he was the person that had to go rescue, didn't he?
Yeah, Gene Hackman. That's not a bad film, actually.
Come on, Owen Wilson, come and fucking kill me, all right. I'm sucking fucking Behind Enemy Lines, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Very good.
Thank you.
And he also made Max Payne.
Yeah.
And Max Payne, for all the fact that it's not actually a very good film, is visually quite stunning.
Yes. Oh.
Tears Before Bedtime. So Max Payne's actually quite a visually stunning film. It's a good looking film, despite being a little weak. So really going into this, I'm like, oh, okay, this could be quite good. I hadn't seen it for ages, and I watched it again the other night. This is the first film written explicitly to be a Die Hard film.
Right. They should take someone else's story, really, shouldn't
Yeah,
they?
which then you think, clearly no one can write directly for Die Hard.
No.
The story is that they've now, because also in the last film they introduced, in Die Hard 4, they introduced John McClane's daughter.
Yeah.
So from the first film you saw her as a little girl appearing on television, "Come home, Daddy."
Yeah.
And now she's grown up into Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Ooh, it's very tasty. And in this film, you find out his son has grown up as well. You don't find out. His son's obviously grown up, and his son's also mentioned in the first film. So his two children have grown up. Now his daughter's gone off, and she's in college. You don't really care what she's doing. Now his son, has appeared to have become a present day action hero. One of the things that we were really... What was the one that... When we said how relatable he was in Die Hard 1, what were we really crowning on?
Family Man.
You know, it's funny, but he's a cop.
Boy Next Door. Cop, yeah.
He's a cop, he's a regular Joe, right? So what's his son? A well-trained CIA operative.
Yeah.
And at no point does his dad or mum know this. They think he's on some sort of drug trip living in Russia. So the story is that a friend of... John's has heard that his son has been arrested in Russia, and so John's going to go out to try and help him out in Russia, because they've grown distant, they've grown apart, don't talk. So he's going to go out to Russia. So the first 10 minutes of the film is that, and then you get a little bit of it's Jai Courtney playing his son, who, let's be honest, is trying to kill himself for a franchise at the moment. You know, he's trying to get something. He's a poor man's Sam Worthington, and Sam Worthington's a poor man's poor man. You know what I mean? It's not great.
Yeah.
He, like you say, there's Terminator Genesis. Oh, Jai Courtney, I fucking hate him. I don't hate him. I just don't think he's very good. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
if anything happens to him, you know the first person to come to is Scott Weatherly.
So then John McClane goes to Russia, sees that his son's about to be taken to court. He's going to go to the court, and then basically that's about 15 minutes, and then there's an explosion, and then action starts and doesn't stop until the film stops.
That's right, yeah.
It just doesn't stop, right? And what I would say is, on that basis, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a lot of fun.
I know this gets slated, right? This is the thing. Die Hard 5, right? A Good Day to Die Hard gets slated.
Yeah.
However, Die Hard 5 was less of a slog than Die Hard 4. Die Hard 4 seemed to be very drawn out. And I think it could have been...
Yeah, there's lots of periods without action.
It's very elongated, and I think it could have been a little bit more,
20 minutes shorter.
Yeah, whereas this doesn't seem... You seem to get through the film quite quickly, because there are some ridiculous over-the-top stunts, some ridiculous action sequences, but it's all quite good fun.
It is. The car chase at the beginning is batshit crazy.
Oh yeah, and also as well, it's completely unnecessary film. It didn't have to be never Die Hard. But again, John McClane in this suffers.
Oh, he's back to getting battered.
Yeah. And his son is the superhero.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you said about the time, Die Hard 4 is 2 hours 10 minutes long, and Die Hard, Good Day to Die Hard is 1 hour 38.
There we go.
And that's it. It's a nice.
That's what a Die Hard film needs to be.
Yeah,
it needs to be that. So I liked it. I thought it was a good film.
It's not the plot. It makes no sense.
No. Oh no.
It's one of those films. It's a bit like a Bond film, right? It's about some Russian guy who's going to turn over nuclear secrets to the Americans. He's going to defect, despite the fact the Cold War's over, but it's not. Yeah. And then he double crosses the Americans, and then they all end up in Chernobyl, right? I don't know why he double crosses the Americans. It's never explained. I might have missed it, but he does, and they all end up in Chernobyl, right? I had to Google something after watching this film. How long can you stay in Chernobyl without suffering from radiation? 10
minutes, isn't it? Something like that.
You can spend 20 minutes in Chernobyl without a radiation suit before you have to be extracted. After that point, you can wash you down and all that shit, right? You would have some after effects from radiation.
Yeah. It's like same thing, same principle of Scotland.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, you go up there, like the amount
10 minutes, that's all you can do.
Yeah, the amount of fried food that just floats in the air.
Yeah.
It just affects your skin.
Get hit by a Mars bar.
Deep fried Mars bars smack in the head. So right, there's all the action in this. It ends in Chernobyl, right? And there's a massive fight scene. Like it's really impressive. Like they've got like a massive the helicopters, big 50 caliber guns, bum 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 bum, all that kind of shit. Jai Courtney and Bruce Willis running around in basically t-shirts and trousers for a good 20 minutes. That's probably in time scales.
And it's really cold.
It's really cold. More than that, they jump into a pool.
Which is radioactive.
Yeah, and Jai Courtney, the character who I'm not sure his name is Jack McClane, so he's obviously John McClane Jr. whatever. Jack McClane.
Yeah.
He when they come out of the water, he's like, "It's okay, it's rainwater." No, you don't understand. That rain cloud has formed over Chernobyl.
Yeah.
The water's radioactive,
and it's in a ditch, which is radioactive. It's not in a swimming pool. You just it's just put up.
Straight after this film, I actually tweeted and said, I now know why there's no Die Hard 6. Because John McClane and Jack McClane died of radiation poisoning soon after this. It is good fun, though.
It's a great film.
Stupid fun.
It's a let's put something on and just be a bit silly.
So, but we said, right, Die Hard 4 is trying to compete with your Jason Bournes and your Daniel Craig Bonds and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is Expendables.
This is competing with Expendables and Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, totally.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it has to be seen on that level.
It's a fun action film. It came at a time where it's just an action film.
Now, the thing is that disappoints me in a sense. Because it is a fun action film. Right?
Yeah.
I could probably pop this on in the background. I could happily have it on and watch it.
Yeah.
But it's not a Die Hard film. There's no reason.
There's no reason to call it a Die Hard film. It could be any old film.
It could be any old film. Yet it's the one that is written to be a Die Hard film.
Yeah. It didn't have to be a Die Hard film. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It had no relevance. There could be a retired cop and his son.
It could be any.
It could have worked. It didn't have to be John McClane.
Yeah, and they try to have it again where they have the sidekick. So you've got John and he makes it his son, right?
Yeah.
And then they introduce the villain and all this other stuff. So they've tried to keep that formula going, but it just doesn't need to be a Die Hard film.
Doesn't need to be.
So what would you give it out of 10? What would you give it?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll tell you for why. Is because I rate. This is the way I rate the films. Die Hard 1, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Okay. I think this one, then Die Hard 4, and then Die Hard 2 is the last one.
Really?
That's my top 5.
What? That's your ranking.
That's my ranking.
So your ranking is Die Hard 1.
Die Hard 1.
Yeah.
Die Hard with Vengeance. Good Day to Die Hard. Just for the sheer, just because it's good entertainment.
Silliness, yeah.
Die Hard 4.0, and then Die Hard 2.
Wow. Okay. I think mine has to go Die Hard 1.
Yeah.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
Then Die Hard 2. Then Die Hard 5.
Oh, okay.
Die Hard 5 on this one. Now, the funny thing is, both of us said Die Hard 1 as our top film. That's undisputable, right?
Yeah.
So I did a Twitter poll on this the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought, I almost tweeted, what's your favourite Die Hard film? I thought, that's a fucking stupid question because everyone's going to say Die Hard. Or at least you're going to get 95%. And then you'll get those knobheads who are like, no, my favourite one's that one. Because, they want to be different.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I sent out a Twitter poll saying, after Die Hard 1, what's your favourite sequel?
Oh, number 3, surely.
Number 3, and I got over 100 votes on this, so it's a good sample size, right? Number 3 got 1 with 55% of the votes.
Okay.
Which is a solid thingy. 2 got 24%, so that came in third.
Wow.
4 got 16%, so it came in at obviously the third place. And 5 only got 5%.
Wow.
But this, as I said, which is your favourite. So this wasn't ranking them. This was just which is your favourite. But
then
Die
again,
Hard
these are people that follow your Twitter feed, so they probably have mental health issues.
This is true. Yeah, I'll accept that. But the point being, though, that you're right. Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, is, I would say, clearly the strongest.
Yeah,
sequel.
agree. Totally agree.
It's if you hadn't seen Die Hard 1 and you watched
Die Hard with Vengeance. You could watch it as a film.
Despite the fact it is linked back to.
You killed my brother, but I mean that scenario happens so many times in so many films. You killed my brother. Okay.
Well, it's also the almost one of those tropes of trilogies, isn't it? Like you have the first film, the second film's quite standalone, and the third film always tries to tie back something to the first film, that sort of thing. So it works. So yeah, everyone was quite big on number 3. And I got when we came through though. All the thing that was interesting on the comments that people were making was yes, Die Hard 3 was the definite follow up, but Die Hard 4 definitely got the most after that, which is weird because everyone was like, the most gifts that people were doing was Die Hard 4.
It's that sequence with the car and the helicopter. Brilliant sequence.
Yeah, and it was stuff like that.
That's a memorable moment in any action film, isn't it?
Which goes to, I think, sometimes like good action is good action.
Yeah, it's like Ronin. You think about the film Ronin. The first thing that strikes your mind about that film, you couldn't really think what that film was all about.
No,
really off the top of your head, but you can remember the car sequence.
Yeah, the car chase night is spectacular.
Spectacular, brilliant car sequence. And it's a thing like that. I think that's the thing with Die Hard 4, is that you can't really go for the story and really understand it, but you can the sequences, the Harrier jet and the
action set pieces are good. There's always every single one of these has got an outstanding
John McClane on a plane.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we'll come to that in a second.
Okay.
Every single one of these has got a strong set piece.
Yeah,
I think, and you're right. I think you're really right on that one. So that's our thing. So one thing to mention, I said that was the last Die Hard film. Die Hard 5 was the last Die Hard film. Now Bruce Willis is in his 60s now, well into his 60s. Yeah. Clearly, I don't think he's going to make any more Die Hard films.
I think he will. I think he'll make another one. Has he got anyone on his IMDb?
No, but there is another Die Hard film coming.
Really?
Yes.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
No. I don't know who's going to be in it. It's called Die Hard Year 1.
Right. Okay.
And it's going to be a prequel.
Right. Okay.
And I'm not
sure how I feel about that.
It's not going to be an original film. It's going to be based on a comic series. So Die Hard Year 1 was a comic series produced, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a bit longer. And it's going to be a story of John McClane's origin, really, his first year on the beat. Something's going to happen his first year on the beat. So it's going to be set in the 70s.
Oh, he's down there as on the potential cast.
I think he'll be like a flashback. I think it might be like a bookend or something. But he won't be in the middle. It's going to be set in the late 70s. And it's going to be a young Bruce Willis, or not a young Bruce Willis, a young John McClane as a beat cop.
Okay. And
it'll be one of those things, like So it sort of I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Because it's the idea is supposed to be that Die Hard 1 is the first big thing that's happened to him. He's a detective. He's just a detective.
Yeah, so
and then
which way is this going to go?
And then you're like, well, if he's already taken on like the entire Russian fucking army or something in New York when he was the first guy on the beat, and you're like, it just undermines all of Die Hard.
It does.
So I'm a little bit about it. Anyway.
Okay.
That's coming. Well, whatever happens, I'm pretty sure we'll probably go see it in the cinema because I'm a fucking mug for stuff.
I think
like
we will.
So this also got me thinking.
Yeah.
What I want to do is this was an inspiration. This film was a bit of a trailblazer. Okay. Now I read an article. It was linked to something, and I followed it through. It was an article, and it was all about films that sort of set a trend. And you're already looking at the list, I can see.
I can see that, yeah.
And so they were talking about things like Jaws, Star Wars, some of the Terminator. So these films are sort of like things that set a legacy. And then Die Hard was there.
Okay.
From 1989. So after the film had come out, apparently Hollywood execs, this was the thing, right? That if you could pitch something as Die Hard in a, then they would be interested.
Okay.
So I put a list here of Die Hard in a, and then films that have followed that thing.
Die Hard in a train.
Yeah.
Sound of Siege. Die Hard on a plane.
So yeah, so I thought we'll go through it. We'll go through it and see if you've watched them and what your thoughts are of them.
Yeah, okay.
Because I like some of these.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, so Die Hard on a battleship.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Under Siege.
Yeah, it's a good film.
So
there's Jean-Claude Van Damme, not Jean-Claude. Steven Seagal. All Steven Seagal's films are Die Hard on or Die Hard in.
Well, yeah, I wish he would.
Nico
I wish he would
above the
die
law.
on. Fucking, he was a B-list martial arts star for such a long time. Yeah, but
and he's a marshal as well, isn't he? U.S. Marshal.
yeah.
So
But Under Siege was probably, as far as I'm. Well, I know there's Nico.
it's not like Tommy Lee Jones is a
Tommy Lee
villain.
Jones is
Great villain.
Yeah. Thing to remember about Steven Seagal. After a certain point, all of his films are just three letters, three words. You know, out to kill, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, he has his place.
Yeah. So the next one was Die Hard on. I think it's supposed to be like a Harrier or a big jet plane.
Jet plane.
Which is my favourite. Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Halle Berry's in it.
Where he dies. He dies in it.
Yeah. There's executive decision. Yeah, that was a real he's billed as like the thing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the main character.
And then
spoilers.
They kill him off, and then
it's
it's a good film. It's a good film.
Oh, what have we got there then? Next one.
So Die Hard in a boarding school, a military boarding school.
I haven't seen Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers.
Now
this is early 90s. It's Sean Astin.
Okay.
And a couple of others in that. But this is actually a really good film. So you've seen. I was going to put another. You've seen. What do they call them? When it's the Wolverines, where the Russians invade a town, and you've got Patrick Swayze and Red Dawn.
Red Dawn, yeah.
Right? Imagine like Red Dawn, but in a boarding school.
Okay, fair enough.
That's pretty much what that is.
Toy Soldiers, okay.
Toy Soldiers. It's a good film, actually. It's a bit silly.
I think David Bowie actually makes a cameo in that. I'm sure what he does in
right.
Toy Soldiers. I'm not. Probably
It's a good film.
Sure.
It's worth seeing though. It's quite a good film. We're back on planes.
Yeah.
So, Die Hard Honor, another plane, and you got Wesley Snipes jumping into it this time.
Passenger 57.
Passenger 57.
Roddy Piper's in that as well, isn't he?
No, not that one.
No, it's not that one. Oh, okay.
But he does have one of the best lines. If you ever play poker, if you play blackjack, or is it always play poker? Always bet on black.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I think that was one of the first Wesley Snipes films I saw. And then I watched that.
I think it's shit. I hate it.
Really?
I hate Passenger 57.
It's so 90s.
Really, really stupid.
It is cheap. And it's
But the next one, though.
I was going to say because I was
I disagree with this one, by the way.
Well, I do as well, but it was in the list, right? But I would say, not to diss Wesley Snipes, later on when him and Stallone get together and they do Demolition Man, it's fucking amazing.
Oh, Demolition Man's great. Yeah.
So the next one, Die Hard on a Cliff.
I think it's wrong. See, not at all.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger is a completely different thing. John Lithgow, fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. So good in
But no, I don't think that's a Die Hard film at all. I don't think it's a Die Hard inspired film. Rennie Harlin did this before Die Hard, didn't he?
No, Die Hard. No, because Die Hard he did Die Hard 2, which is 1990. Cliffhanger's 94, 95. Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. I think there's two now.
It's two separate, isn't it?
It's
It's
two
on the
separate,
list. Okay,
yeah.
I do love it though.
Oh, it's a great film. I'd watch it.
Yeah. It's another ridiculous film.
A great Stallone film. One of the Stallone's made some good films. Did someone shout then?
No, I didn't hear it. One of Stallone's good 90s films.
Yeah.
Great film. And like you say, John Lithgow is always amazing in it. So we've moved from air traffic to other public transport. So Die Hard on a bus.
Yeah.
Speed.
That's kind of like that's Die Hard with Vengeance in on location. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Speed. Great film though.
I love Speed.
I thought it was a great film.
I haven't seen Speed in ages.
No,
I do need to revisit.
Sandra Bullock looking as gorgeous as she does now and not aged.
No, she's one of those actresses. Like her and Keanu Reeves seem to have they left like 1996 and stayed the same. Yeah, amazing. So the next one's a little bit less, but it's actually quite a good film.
Jean-Claude.
Yeah, Die Hard in an ice rink. It's a stadium, ice rink stadium.
I just can't take Jean-Claude seriously.
So
Jean-Claude is too. It's got too much going on, so I don't really.
He's an interesting one, right?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those interesting things where you've either got to be a martial artist or you've got to be like you've got to have an accent and be a star. Like, you know, what I mean, he's too much going on. He's got some good films, you know, but he's never been A-list, has he?
No.
Like, he can never break that glass ceiling. He can never.
No.
People talk about him being up there with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, but
he's a good one though. He has his place.
Time Cop's still my favourite.
Time Cop's great.
Jean-Claude Van Damme film.
And Universal Soldiers.
Oh yes,
it's a great film.
That's a franchise I'd love to talk about because that gets messed up. It's got like Goldberg in it. That's got Dolph Lundgren in it. That's awesome series. And the later films get really messed up.
Yeah, that's
really
Chris Atkins. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all baddies and stuff. It's amazing.
Weird.
Brilliant. So, Die Hard, back in planes. Die Hard in a prisoner plane.
Well, yeah, but it's not though, is it?
Con Air.
No, it's not. It's an escape film, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what this is. It's an escape film. It's not. I don't think it's Die Hard influenced at all. You know, I mean, it's an escape film. Con Air.
Do you like Con Air though?
I love Con Air. I think it's a great film. That's Schumacher, isn't it?
I was about to check actually.
Yeah, it's part because it's the Rock, Con Air. Yeah, it's all the same.
Oh, Brubaker. It's yeah. So it's directed by Simon West.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was part of that sort of
yeah.
Brubaker, not Brubaker. Bruckheimer.
Bruckheimer, that's what I meant.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Schumacher, he's a racing driver.
Yeah. But again, I love that film. A really good 90s film. Well, again, it's Nicolas Cage went through like an action phase, didn't he?
No, Nicolas Cage. I think he's a great action hero. Nicolas Cage.
Of the 90s.
Yeah.
90s action hero.
Yeah, I think he's alright. Ghost Rider is a great film. I like Ghost Rider.
Yeah, less an action. I'm thinking like the trilogy for me, the Nicolas Cage action trilogy is The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off.
Oh, Face Off is brilliant.
Yeah.
Categorically one of my favourites.
Well, I think we should do that. We'll do that as a trilogy.
Yeah, yeah. I watch them all. Yeah, that's great.
Because he's one of those other actors that I think I always... you're never sure what you're going to get from.
No. Army of One is a good example. Have you seen that?
I bought it for £1 from the pound shop. Never watched it. It's still sat. It's still sat in the box somewhere.
It's interesting. I think he's a great actor. I think Nicolas Cage has got a great range as an actor. Anyone who says he hasn't, no, I think it's rubbish.
Well, if you watch like any of those ones, and then you watch like Kick-Ass, and then you watch like Bad Lieutenant, and it's like the guy's amazing.
No, the guy's great.
You're always going to get something interesting from Nick Cage. All right, a couple left. Die Hard on Back in Planes, Air Force One.
Never wanted to watch it. Never wanted to see
Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, no.
It's a good film. I quite enjoy it.
Didn't appeal to me.
It's one of those films, right? Where this is such an Americanism, right? Because you'd never have like a kick-ass prime minister.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
This is sort of like those things of it's up there with.
But it's Harrison Ford. He can do anything he likes.
Well, yeah. Basically, Indiana Jones is the president.
Yeah.
I always find it quite funny when they do this. When they make the president sort of like some sort of action hero. So in this film, like, you know, he is basically he's playing the character he played in like Clear and Present Danger and Jack Ryan. Right, he's playing that sort of character crossed with Indiana Jones, and he's like, he was a former army vet and all sort of thing. It's the same as like Independence Day. Like the president's a former Air Force pilot and all sort of thing. I'm like, have you seen your presidents?
Yeah, no, they're not.
Dumpy orange fucker. Jesus. Right, so anyways, Air Force One. I think it's quite a good film, but it's very American.
Yeah.
We're going to stick, right, with Americanisms, okay? I thought I wanted to top off with two, because this is almost something else we'll talk about one day. Die Hard in a White House.
Yeah.
So more recently...
So you've got two there.
I have. Because these came out very, very close to each other.
So one has got Jamie Foxx in.
That's the White House Down.
And the other one has got Gerard Butler.
Which is Olympus Has Fallen. Now, I've got both of these on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy them both for two very different reasons.
I think they're two good films.
They are.
Yeah.
I think Olympus Has Fallen is probably the closest... Out of all this list, is probably one of the closest to being a Die Hard film.
That's what can we do with Gerard Butler?
Yeah.
That's what that film's about.
Yeah.
What can we do with him?
And he is badass in it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't mess around in it.
He's pretty good. But he's believable. But the problem I've got with it is the fact that he's too believable. He's too ripped and too big and bulky, whereas Bruce Willis is a scrawny man.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. When you look at all of these films...
Everyone's ripped.
Everyone becomes... There's a few you can stand at. Toy soldiers, right? But it's a military school. So it's a military boarding school. So they're all trained, right? But Under Siege, he's a chef, but he just happens to have been he's a former special service, special thingy, whatever. So, Passenger 57, he's got military training. All of these have got like something, you know. Even in Con Air, the reason he's in prison is because he killed a guy because he was an army ranger. He is ripped to fuck in it.
It's just like wow.
Yeah. So I agree. I'm a bit like, no one understood the reason. Like, all they seem to think is these executives stick a person in a situation and they become a one-man army.
Yeah.
I say these films have probably got more in common with Commando than they do with Die Hard.
I agree. I think I can see the influence from Die Hard, but I can't see them being Die Hard in a...
Yeah. These are more like Commando on a boat. Commando, 12 of them in a plane. It's closer to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think then, just as we'll start to wrap up in a minute, right? Because I've got two more questions, but Do you think then that you could sell in modern cinema, if you were to remake Die Hard today, or not remake, but if you were to make Die Hard today, would you have to make John McClane some sort of former special forces soldier, or could you just have him?
I think we're an underdog nation, and I think that's
no, not us. Like,
no. I think generally the underdog is always a good story, and I think that if you make someone the underdog and they prevail, it makes a better film. So I don't think he needs to have any superpowers. I don't think we're in a superpower age.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I went to see Skyscraper recently, right? And I will always watch and I will always enjoy a film with Dwayne Johnson in, because
he's The Rock. He can do whatever he likes.
Yeah. Right.
And he did several times when we stayed in that same hotel.
He wore me like a glove.
He did. And how I laughed.
Yeah. Yeah, I wore his Johnson.
Yeah.
But the thing I see is, like, say, even in that film, they give him literally a physical disability, right? He has a prosthetic leg, and it's used in the film to great effect in many cases.
But he's built like a brick shit house.
He's still built like a brick shit house, and in the film, he's a former FBI special forces, blah 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 blah.
But you're missing the point, though, right? That's not a good example to make a point, because it's an underdog is someone like Pee Wee Herman. Yeah.
Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Pee Wee's Playhouse
is invaded by
Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah.
Is
crash. Die Hard in Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's someone like that. John McClane is a Pee Wee character. He's not anything. He's not.
But I don't think you. I convinced. Name me a modern action character, right, that doesn't have some sort of super secret military training of some kind of martial arts fucking training.
Exactly.
They're all fucking it's impossible.
Yeah.
I always find it such a great coincidence. They're like, oh, this happened, but it's all right because he's he's got special forces training, or he used to be this, or he used to be that. It's just bullshit. I would like to see a film where two middle-aged tubby bastards get caught up in it, and it's like they still prevail because they're just
Stephen Bob.
Stephen Bob, yeah. Jeff Hart. I just, I don't mind it being played as in like having someone who's physically fit and all this stuff, because again, like that's still fine. Yeah. But I just find that they've drifted so far away from what you've just said, that underdog character. That the reason we love John McClane is because he was that underdog character.
Yeah.
When he walks through, right, with his arms at the end of Die Hard 1, and he stumbles through, right, and things all blown to fuck, and he comes through, and he's bleeding, he's got his hands behind his head, and he's like, Holly! And she's like, Jesus! And he's got the gun taped to his back and stuff, right? You are like, fuck! Like, he's done for. Like, he looks beaten to fuck. If they made that film now, right, he would come sprinting in there, or he'd come, even if he did that moment, he'd have a slight limp.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why I can't take that. The problem is action films have got to compete with superhero films, and that's why the Fast and the Furious, the last Fast and the Furious films was an Avengers film, because they did some of the craziest stunts in it, and no one gets fucking hurt.
Yeah.
So, do you think modern action? We're talking about modern action compared to. I'm not a nostalgia. I'm not a nostalgia freak. I am, I suppose, because it's a 20th century geek. But
yeah.
I still think, I'm not saying it's all better, because I still love. I thought Skyscraper was great fun. I think the Fast and the Furious franchise is great fun. I just think they're missing a trick.
Yeah, they need to make an action film as opposed to making a franchise film.
Yeah. I want to see someone who's a bit like a regular Joe, gets caught in a situation and has to sort of like be like a Die Hard. He has to be super hard to get out of it. Ooh. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I want to see.
I agree.
So that's what we've got to. But yeah, so your thoughts on, I was going to say, overall Die Hard franchise?
I think they should carry it on. I think they should kill off John McClane in the next one.
I think that was the point of Die Hard 5. Jai Courtney was supposed to be the continuation, and then they watched it back and were like, he's not.
They should kill off John McClane.
I think you're right. I think kill off John recast Jack McClane, his son, and
I think this Die Hard Year One bollocks is just a mistake.
I agree. I fully agree.
Prequels are always a mistake.
The comic's not great. The comic's not great. It's. I think I read half of it. I was like, this is a bit crap. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I also think it's clear. Find somebody who wants to just make a good action film.
Yeah.
Then
get Rennie Harlin. Get
John McTiernan back.
John McTiernan back. Yeah.
Find someone who's trying to make a good action film and then make it a Die Hard film.
Get Shane Black.
Shane Black could be good.
He'd make a great Die Hard film.
Yeah, it would actually. I think especially when you've had things like The Good Guys.
Die Hard Forever. Call it Die Hard Forever. Make it the last ever Die Hard film.
Yeah, or just die. Die hard dies.
Exactly.
Dies hard. Okay, so I think we've done with that. Really, I think we've talked about the Die Hard franchise. 30 years old. Go watch it.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Yes, you look good for it.
I look good for it.
Especially in that tank top covered in your Die Hard.
And nothing else.
yeah. Someone swinging from your hose. I would recommend going to see all the Die Hard films. I think it's a franchise worth visiting. I've got more of them still.
Watch them back to back.
Yeah, binge the bastards.
Yeah.
Binge them. Right, we shall wrap up there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to 20th Century Geek and joining Mike and myself. We are going to be talking something different next month. We're going to go from action. We're going to go from action, so we're going to, all the way to comedy.
Are we?
So now it's time for something a little bit different.
Oh yes, of course.
So we've talked, we've celebrated 30 years of Die Hard. We're now going to be celebrating. There's no anniversary. I just wanted to talk about it, really.
We always celebrate Python.
We're going to celebrate, and we are going to talk Monty Python in all its forms. We're going to talk TV. We're going to talk films. We're going to talk songs. We're going to talk stage shows. Everything. Yeah. And so please, in advance, I'll be tweeting about it and stuff. Get in contact and let us know what your thoughts on Monty Python. Email me it's 20thcenturygeek@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter @20th Century Geek, and on Facebook. I get more attention on Facebook actually, which is good. Getting some people there. Come find us. We're on Tumblr, on Instagram.
That's normally from societies that tell you to stay away from children, isn't it?
Yes, the police found me and said, please stop.
Delete this profile.
But please let us know what you think of the Die Hard series, and also what you want to talk about on Monty Python. And of course, we've got our Patreon reviews are going out, and the Patreon content. Please check us out on there. Any money you want to throw away, greatly appreciated, because we don't get paid for this. Well, I don't, and you surely fucking don't. But it still costs money. So any money is appreciated, but just listening is appreciated. Any subscribe on Twitter, on
donate to
iTunes.
Children, your wives,
girlfriends, wives preferably.
Yeah.
And subscribe. Send any reviews. 5-star review is fantastic, but any review is also good. So I'm going to stop rambling now. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.